Do you ever feel like manifestation is just another thing on your to-do list that you don't have time for? Like your spiritual practice is something that you have to do? Honestly, you're not alone because I felt that way too. Something that's really changed my relationship with manifestation is blending it into my lifestyle so that no matter what I'm doing, I'm also manifesting. I call this manifestation as a lifestyle, and it's single handedly made the entire manifestation journey more enjoyable for me. And I've seen my desires show up with a lot more ease. Manifesting as a lifestyle has made manifestation go from feeling like a task to something I just naturally do because it's who I am. If you'd like to learn more about this, I've created a step by step guide for you. I'll link it in my show notes so you can check it out.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Affirmation Addict podcast. Today, I am going to be doing another Affirmation Basics, Affirmation 101 episode because I want to reiterate just a couple of super commonly asked questions about affirmations, how to use them, when to practice them. And so I just wanted to make this episode once again for you guys in just a different light to give you some tips on the best way to use and practice your affirmations. So if this is something you've been looking for clarity on, I really hope this helps you. You're listening to the Affirmation Addict podcast with Payal Agarwal. This podcast will teach you about the power of affirmations while making manifestation easy and accessible for you in order to enhance your spiritual consciousness. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm so excited to dive into today's episode. Actually, wait, before we get started, I wanted to check with you. Have you heard about my new app? It's called Affirm-It, and it's your one-stop shop for all things affirmations, manifestation, and self-healing. I really have been wanting to create something for you that truly empowers you to realize that you genuinely have everything you need within you. You don't need me. You don't need any other coaches. This app genuinely has everything you need to get that life that you've been trying to manifest. And it has gentle daily reminders, guided audio affirmations, sleep affirmations, affirmation reminders, and so much more good information, good energy, and so many things that I know will help you manifest your dreams. Because I'm so grateful for you, I'm actually offering you a free 7-day trial. And this is a genuine 7-day trial. That means you don't have to type in your credit card. You won't be automatically charged. There's no ads, and you get complete access to the app as if you've already subscribed to it. So if you do want to learn more about the app, head over to affirmation-addict.com/app, or if you're ready to dive in, head over to the iTunes App Store and search for Affirm-It. The Android version will be coming soon, and as soon as it's ready, I'll be sure to let you know. Now we can officially dive into today's episode. Hey everybody, happy Monday. So today I'm so excited because I get to just share with you what I know best, and that is everything affirmations. So I like to call this episode Affirmations 101, just to give everybody a clean slate, a fresh look at affirmations, and just everything you need to know about them. And so starting off right at the bat, what are affirmations? Technically, positive affirmations are statements used to help reprogram your subconscious mind, to which in turn helps recreate or manifest your reality in the way you want it to. That's a really kind of high-level definition, but my real interpretation is that every single word you speak is actually an affirmation because your subconscious mind is always listening to you. So just because you aren't intentionally practicing your affirmations doesn't mean that your words aren't being heard. It doesn't mean that your words are not manifesting. One of the biggest misconceptions I think people have is that affirmations are a kind of a 10-second thing you do in the morning, but I really disagree because I think affirmations truly boil down to they are every word you speak, and I really think of affirmations as a lifestyle of being really conscious and mindful and intentional about how we use the power of our words, which will in turn change our thoughts and change our reality. So that is really my interpretation of what affirmations are. And I'm sure you already know that they are powerful. I'm sure you know that they are important in the manifestation world and just spiritual growth. I know you know all that stuff. And so I want to get to a little bit of some details and misconceptions about affirmations. One thing I think people really misinterpret affirmations for is that they are over positive and it's really toxic positivity. So I agree that I think some people will teach affirmations in the form of just say it and your life will be healed. And I honestly do believe in the power of that, but I think there's a lot more to it. I do think you have to feel through your feelings. I really do think there are negative things that we experience or not so fun things we experience because we need to experience those. And so I really disagree and don't believe in the toxic positivity aspect of affirmations. I think people sometimes will leave out that part. In my opinion, I think affirmations are a tool and a way of being really mindful and intentional. And I also really believe that they help you get even deeper into your feeling and into that shadow work. And so for me, I use my affirmations in shadow work. And I'm like, I am able to feel all of my feelings with ease. I am able to flow through my anxiety with ease. So to me, affirmations are not about always being positive, always being happy, and avoiding your feelings. I think it's quite the opposite. I think affirmations bring you a sense of awareness and are a tool to help you deal with all of the different types of feelings you are experiencing. So just to clear that up, I know there's some resistance around affirmations because it can definitely come off as toxic positivity, which I know is not good for health. And that's why one of my biggest manifestation myths is that you do have to be positive all the time, because that is so false. And I know it comes off that way. I think it's really hard for people to understand that your feelings are meant to teach you. Your feelings are meant to support you, to guide you. The good ones and the not so fun ones. And so I wanted to clear that up and just remind you, if you are under the impression that you have to be positive all the time, that is not the case. And I don't believe anybody is intentionally trying to teach you that. I think it just comes off that way. And so your feelings are always going to be there. There's other spiritual laws aside from law of attraction, which I teach in all my courses, where you learn that everything is relative to your own experience. So your level of happiness might be someone else's level of sadness. So everybody's emotions are so relative to their own experience. And so that's why positivity isn't the answer. It's truly about being aware, being mindful, and picking and choosing what you want. And yes, directing more attention towards that, but it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to doubt. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to focus on something you don't want, because that's human nature. So there's no ask for you not to be human. The whole ask is for you to be human, accept that you're human, and love all aspects of your humanity. And so I really wanted to clear that up, because I get really sad when people think that they're a failure or they're doing something wrong just because they had one negative thought. Like, I have negative thoughts all the time. It's so natural and they're never really going to go away. We are wired to have a balance of thoughts, and it's kind of comes down to, it's your choice whether you want to direct a lot of energy towards it. So my interpretation is that affirmations really help us become aware of where we want to direct our energy, because there's always going to be good things, there's always going to be bad things, but we get to choose how heavily those things affect us, how heavily we focus on those, and how we react to those. And so I think it's a lot deeper than just saying some positive words and going with it. I believe affirmations are truly a way of life. That's my interpretation. And so I really hope that this little introduction, so to speak, helped you understand a different way of looking at affirmations, a little more non-traditional. But that's truly my take on what affirmations are and how to properly just get the best out of them. And on that note, I get so many questions like, how many affirmations do I say? When do I say them? What time of day? Do I write them? Do I read them out loud? Do I set a reminder and affirm it? What do I do? And to be honest, my answer, you might not like it, is going to be, it's totally up to you. There's no right way. There's no proven way. There's no wrong way. I firmly believe it's up to you. However, the biggest thing to remember, is with affirmations and reframing your subconscious, the repetition is really important. So whether for you that means repeating it 10 times a day or repeating it once a day for 2 weeks, I think you get to decide that. But I will give you some examples or just some possibilities that you can explore and choose what really works for you. And so when you're in the app or on my page and you come across an affirmation you really like, if it's one affirmation that you really like, you are more than welcome to repeat that same affirmation all over. You can repeat it in your journal. You can repeat it out loud 5 or 10 times. You can write it down, and you can even put it on a sticky note on your water bottle, wherever you want. So you can work with just one affirmation and really go completely into it. Or this is something what I do more often is I have like 10 or 12 kind of core affirmations that really resonate with me during the season of life I'm in. And they're always changing. But I have about 10 that stick with me around the same ballpark for at least a month. That's normally how I have it. So I have 10 affirmations that I just repeat mentally. I write them down in my journal every morning, and I look at myself in front of the mirror. So you get to choose whether you want to focus on just one, you want to focus on 10, or you want to read 50 of them in the app. There's truly no right or wrong way. It's up to you to figure out what connects with you the best, and what feels just lightest to you. If you don't know how to make that decision, hold your hand on your heart and say, does this feel light or does this feel heavy? And that's how you can make your decision. So in terms of frequency, the key is just repetition. It doesn't matter if you say it 5 times today or 20, and if you quote unquote miss a day, that's okay too. So it's really more so about being able to just say them or practice them. And so on that note, how do you practice them? So there's 3 ways. You can write them down in your journal. You can say them out loud, ideally in front of the mirror, or you can set reminders on your app, set them as your background. So those are the 3 ways I always practice affirmations. And to be honest, I use all 3 daily. So there's no such thing as too many ways or too many times, because honestly, repetition is super powerful. But it's also really about what feels good to you, and you don't want to be obsessive, like, okay, saying this affirmation is going to give me this result. You want to really understand that saying this affirmation is going to change my belief, which will eventually provide the result I'm looking for. And so remembering your intention with which you're practicing the affirmation. And that's what I was going to go into next is when you are saying your affirmations, sometimes it feels like you're lying to yourself. It feels like you're just saying things you don't agree with. And I've been in that same boat. For me, I have already enough faith in affirmations where if an affirmation doesn't resonate with me, but I know I'm working on it, it doesn't bother me. But if you feel like you're lying to yourself when you're saying affirmations, I recommend trying a different one, and just trying a simpler one, like I am loved or I am safe, something that hits a little bit more closer to home rather than I am marrying my soulmate or I have a new car. Like more physical, I would start with more emotional, if you feel like you're lying to yourself, because I think that's something you can create a deeper connection with. And I am thinking of creating a whole episode on what to do if you feel like you're lying to yourself when you say affirmations. So if that's something you need, just send me a DM. I would love to know if that's something you want to learn more about. But speaking of intentions, one thing I do really believe is that affirmations, the intention and the vibration you are saying them with is really helpful. It's not like a make or break situation, but I do think it's powerful. Like I say affirmations when I'm in a really low vibration to help me get into a higher vibration. So if I'm anxious and I want to not feel anxious, I'm not in a high vibration, but I'm trying to get there. So that's one scenario. But another scenario is when you are trying to manifest something physical like a soulmate or money. Then I believe it's really powerful to first get yourself to a higher vibration and then say those affirmations, because your energy will just be even more connected to the energy of what your desire is. So your intention to just feel better, even if you don't get your manifestation immediately, I think is really powerful. And keep in mind, this episode is super, super high level. There's a lot of nuances. There's a lot more details that can go into it that come up with doubt and surrendering and how and when. I know there's so much more that comes up, but I just wanted to give you some insight as to just how to work with your affirmations. Another thing people ask is, what time of day do you say affirmations? I say them generally as soon as I wake up, because I love saying them before I look at my phone, before I do anything, because your mind is actually the most malleable, so it's the most changeable at that time. So I love doing it right when I wake up, or even right before I go to sleep, to help me keep thinking about it subconsciously as I am sleeping for those 8 hours, because you've probably had one of those situations where you watched a movie or you talked about something right before you slept and then you dreamt about it and you woke up thinking about it. So on a similar note, I'll sometimes say an affirmation or think about an affirmation that I'm working towards right before I sleep. So that way it's kind of just in the back of my mind throughout those 8 hours, repeating and doing its thing in my mind. That really helps me. So for me, morning and evening, like morning right when I wake up or evening right before I go to bed, are my two favorite times. But there are so many possibilities. Like I have reminders on my phone set throughout my day because my vibration changes and I need to maintain that vibration. And so it really helps me to have those reminders on all throughout the day, to help me just stay in a high vibe and stay okay. So I really recommend you to play with it and see what works best for you. And the last thing I really wanted to talk about is a few key pointers on making sure your affirmation is benefiting you. And the first one is to make sure it's in present tense. This is because your subconscious has no concept of time. And so when you say your affirmations in present tense, you are acknowledging that the energy of whatever you're trying to manifest is existing. So present tense is really important. Number two is you want to speak about or focus your energy on what you do want. So an example is, I am healthy. That's a good example. A bad version of that is, I am not sick, because when you say I am not sick, you're actually putting energy and attention towards sickness, and that doesn't help. And so you want the energy to be towards good health. So I have good health, or I am healthy. That's where you want the energy to go. So try and focus on the objects or the feelings that you do want rather than saying what you don't want. And really related to that note is avoid words like not or don't or cannot, because those words your subconscious mind actually can't pick up. It can't interpret like negative, so to speak, words in grammar. Like it can't understand a word that rejects the word before. It doesn't understand grammar to that level, like the English language. So it won't understand, like I said, I am not sick. It's only going to hear I am sick. That is why it's super powerful to focus on what you do want rather than what you don't want, because your mind will just drop the not, and then you're actually by accident affirming for what you don't want. So a lot of people will say, oh, I don't want my boss to be my boss. But it's your subconscious mind hears, I want my boss to be my boss. And so it's just understanding those three fundamentals, and you can learn how to build your own affirmations. I have so many resources on my Instagram page. In the app, I have a whole PDF for you as well. And so those are some ways for you to learn how to build your affirmations properly, and to serve you best. And I think it is such a great way to get started and have confidence in your affirmations. And on that note, the last thing I want to say is, when you're saying affirmations, if you can just have confidence and have faith in yourself and just in you, they will be so much more powerful and potent, because when you're saying your affirmations filled with too much doubt, it might just do a reverse psychology on you. You might just feel like you're not good enough, and that's not fun. And so try and just start gentle and build your way up. And I hope this
Affirmations 101 episode was really helpful and informative on how to really create the best affirmations, use them to your advantage, and just work with them. I want to be able to give you that confidence that you can too practice affirmations and you're doing the right thing. I don't want you to get too caught up in, am I doing it the right way, or what time, or how many times? Just start and play with it. You cannot mess this work up. You can only get better with this. And so just realizing that this is allowed to be fun, this is allowed to be playful, you're allowed to have your own creative way of practicing affirmations, and I think it's really important for you to remember that as you go through your affirmation journey. So if you have any other questions, send me a DM on Instagram, send me a message, and I will try and create another episode to dive even deeper into some specific questions you might have about affirmations. So thank you so much for being here. As always, I'm so grateful for you, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Bye.
So, how did you like today's episode? I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed recording it. And before you leave, I wanted to just say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for spending some time with me. If this episode or any of my content has ever inspired you, it would mean the absolute world to me if you could leave a review in the iTunes podcast app and just share this with someone you care about. The more you guys leave reviews and share this with people, the more I am able to create more content for you, and that's what fuels me and keeps me going. I am so genuinely grateful for the time we shared today, and until next time, I'm sending you lots of love and lots of healing energy. Bye!